Hey.
Hello.
Good morning.
There's Bolter.
Good morning.
See all of your hands.
You know what? John,
Hi,
nice to meet
Haley
you.
West.
Good
How
morning.
are you? Caroline. Hi, Haley West. How are you?
Tyler Spears.
What are you doing?
I am a sales manager.
Hi, Haley West.
John, nice to meet you. Emergency manager.
Hi, Haley West. How are you?
Jackson, Carolina.
Haley West. Hi, nice to meet you.
Jason Caroline, Andres Cruz,
Hi.
pleasure to meet you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
morning.
How are we this morning?
We're good. Doing well. Thanks for asking.
Do we have a restful Easter break?
What to say that?
Okay. Any crazy travels far away?
You know, I went up to Minnesota, and that's where I'm from.
Decently far?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else travel?
I went out to San Diego, hometown. Yeah, this was summer.
Did you go to the beach?
I did go to the beach, yeah. Nice weather.
Yeah, two very different climates.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Still snowing up north.
Is it really?
Wow.
I definitely missed this.
Yes. You missed the snow?
Oh my goodness.
Where are you
yeah.
from?
I'm from North Carolina.
Oh,
so we get a
okay.
little bit of both. But
Okay.
oh my goodness, it gets hot here in the summer in Texas, and I
I know.
absolutely
True.
miss a little bit of cold.
I'm from Colorado, and so I absolutely understand that, missing the snow. I didn't know North Carolina got that much, though.
Oh yeah, I mean I live in Raleigh, so it's about 3 hours to the mountains and 3 hours to the beach, so you get to experience a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Very nice.
Thank you. I mean, Texas is a little bit too flat for that.
Texas is a little bit
Yeah.
too flat. Yeah, I mountain bike as well, and there's not a whole lot of mountains out here.
We're in a mountain bike without the mountain.
No,
We try to do some hill biking.
it's an essential piece
Yeah.
of mountain biking. Yeah. Okay, well, as you all know, we're here to discuss the contract. We've been talking for a number of months now, and are interested in ironing out some final details. We believe that we've given you a very competitive bid on this, and being that we're some of the best in the industry at what we do, we believe that we can iron out a deal pretty effectively today. So we're going to actually pass the mic to y'all so that we can resolve any concerns that you may have with line items on the contract and work through them as you desire. Does that sound like something we can do?
Yeah.
That sounds great, Chris.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So I guess a concern that we have right off the bat is your product portfolio, and not necessarily sure if we really need the recuperator. I know what you guys mentioned. I know that a huge part of it for us is the ability to cut those fuel costs, but I know our engineering team has some concerns about testing and how that will pay off in the long run. So could you just expand more on that?
Absolutely. Our engineer is going to be able to speak directly to the value of the recuperator. I understand your concern is that maybe you don't see the value in necessarily that piece of the package. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
Well, further past that, it is a new product innovation. We're worried that it's going to take about 2 to 3 years of downtime to work out those engineering bugs, and we really don't want to spend that time working out those bugs in that product offering in your product.
Okay. I understand there's some concern about delays. So that's something that our engineer absolutely can speak to.
I appreciate that, Jackson. So your concern is with regards to the, I guess, debugging of the actual application or the recuperator itself?
Since it is so new, yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, if it's any I guess help to preface this, we've done extensive testing in-house for the recuperator, and as I mean here at Bolter, we're very well renowned for our compressor additions. So, for example, our custom marine shelter as well as our salt spray air filters are top of the line, and any add-ons that we've put on any compressor, we've done so extremely efficiently and have really shown extreme payoffs. So I would love to present, if I may, the payoffs that you can see from the recuperator itself, and maybe that'll help mitigate those concerns regarding the downtime.
I guess if you don't mind me interjecting.
Yeah, of course.
From our understanding, there has been no testing for the recuperator, but you said that there has been. Could you just
In-house,
expand
yeah.
more of what that testing has looked like?
Of course. Well, I think it'd be irresponsible for us to just throw a
Yeah.
product. I'd be like, oh yeah, we'll see if it works. So as any and all of our compressors as well as our add-ons, we do extensive in-house testing to make sure that everything is up to par. It's, of course, maybe a little bit different than exact testing conditions for an offshore rig. However, we make sure to put it through pretty arduous tests. We understand some of the biggest concerns, and this is also kind of why we put these add-ons. It's a three-pronged approach to try to make your compressor the safest and most efficient out on the offshore, because it's really hard to service. So we tried to not only make it efficient, fuel efficient via the recuperator, but also protect it from the salt and the abrasive weather via the actual marine shelter and the air sprays, the spray air filters. My apologies. And so we believe that by incorporating all three, really there shouldn't be any external changes to the testing that we did in-house. It shouldn't be really much different.
Andres, I'm a little confused. You said extensive in-house testing. Can you kind of describe what is extensive? We're kind of looking at a broad term.
Yeah, of course. So looking at a compressor, I mean, these are workhorses. It's going to be the heart of your rig, and you need to be working almost 24/7, 365. So we make sure that they go, maximum capacity, let me rephrase that. We make sure that they're tested at maximum capacity for extended periods of time, and then we expose them to both salt and brine so that we can make sure that all of the anti-corrosive materials we use, so, top of the line stainless steel as well as aluminum for the internals, is all just airtight. However, with salt water generally, you'll have what's referred to as salt creep, which is salt will build up on the outside, and although it may not corrode the actual material itself, it'll build up kind of like a calcium buildup almost, but it's just pure salt. And so that's why we install the marine shelters as well as the air filter to prevent that salt creep internally. Because externally, scrape it off, clean it off with normal maintenance, not a big deal. And so did that answer your question?
Let me kind of rephrase it. I guess my question is more along the lines of what has the timetable been looking like for this testing, just with all of the testing being in-house. I know typically within the scientific process you want to get it out to multiple mines across the field to remove any biases, anything of that nature. So I'm just a little concerned, what's the timetable been looking like for this research? How long have we been spending on this product?
Specifically for the recuperator part of the product.
Yeah, of course. So, we can't really follow the scientific process to the T because we can't just share trade secrets with other people. That would kind of give us the competitive edge, just lost right there. But this being an innovative technology, we've been working on it for, I'd say, about 2 years. It's been in the works now. And
Of in-house testing?
2 years in the works.
Of manufacturing, start to finish.
Sorry, 2 years of product inception to completion, about 1 year of testing. So it took us about 1 year to hammer it out, and then from there we've been testing it in-house for about a year, getting it ready for the field.
Our team still...
no.
Yeah.
My apologies. I see the value in recuperators if properly used and they're properly made, but this 1 year testing does give my team and I a little hesitation because we are concerned with the product quality because the bid is at a very high price. So ultimately, I think we're looking for some confirmation and safety that your product is a premium product. So could you go in depth a little bit more about the testing or anything about that?
So I think I have something I can mention to address that.
Okay.
Did you want to say something?
I think that we're hyping on testing a lot. As we mentioned, this is a very new and innovative product. So, we have invented in the past 3 years. We had it built in the first 2 years, and then we tested for the next year afterward. Now, the testing has occurred for 1 year, and right now you're talking to us because you're trying to get an innovative solution, and you're trying to get ahead of your competitors. And I think that the recuperator is a great way to do that. It's because it's a technology that nobody else is going to have, as you would be the first one using this technology. And obviously, in our contract, we also have the warranty as well as the service contract, which would also be used to make sure that the recuperator is working well along with the rest of the rig.
Yeah, to add on to what Eli said, we've been talking about this for the last 6 months. You're working with Bolter because of what we do as a company. Our brand is to provide you the highest quality products. With our JR2000, that includes everything we put on there. Anything that we offer to y'all is putting our brand on the line. So we feel really comfortable with that year of testing because we know if it doesn't work for y'all and doesn't drive value for who you are at Maverick, then it's going to damage our brand here at Bolter.
With the recuperator specifically, I know you guys said that you've been testing it for a year. We think that it could be from anywhere between 2 to 3 years to work out those engineering bugs. So we would really like to test that for at least 1 additional year on our own platform if you guys are willing. We would be willing to give some investment up front, but we want to test that for a year to make sure that we do like that part of the product and then deliver the rest of that investment on the back end if we do feel like it's a good product offering.
I'd like to interject and ask, where did you get the information on assuming that it would take another 2 to 3 years of testing for the full implementation and successful use of our product.
It's just for the recuperator part. We believe that since it is a new product innovation, it's going to take 2 to 3 years of field testing to work out those engineering bugs of that part of the product. We feel comfortable with the marine shelter and the salt spray filters. It's just that recuperator, since you guys are a new product offering and this is also a new product innovation, we think that it's going to take a while to work out those bugs on our platform and to work in tandem with the rest of our operations there.
So
we'll be working right alongside with you in that process, and I'm confident that my team has worked very hard on this product. And I wouldn't put my team's neck on the line for this product if I didn't think it wasn't going to work well for this rig.
We do remain a little hesitant though, because I know your company has lost some sales to past competitors, and especially with a new product, we don't want to really risk much.
Yeah, and to clarify on those lost sales, most of those have been because of lower bids, not because of the quality of the product. We do have a bit of a premium price, even though this is a highly competitive bid for what is offered on the sheet. So just a clarification, so those lost sales that you mentioned.
Just touching on that, what would stop us from going to those lower bids then?
quality.
Yeah.
Simply just
So-
engineering.
And you said that you're concerned multiple times about the failure of the product and then the downtime on your rig. If you were to go to those lower bids, you'd be paying for a lower quality product, and here you'd be paying a premium price for a very high quality product that's very reliable. With the team that I can count on every single day, that would be by your side every single day, making sure that your rig is running 24/7, 365.
I guess, kind of circling back to Jason's point initially, if we were to implement the recuperator, how would you guys feel about having around half of that cost up front and then us being able to pay the rest of that after that year at least of testing is completed?
Before we discuss financials, I just want to address another alternative option that we could explore. Would be looking at, because you mentioned you wanted about 2 to 3 years of testing, right?
Right.
So if you guys,
That's what we assume the market's going to look like for it.
or
Yes.
I appreciate you correcting that. So if we did a year of in-house testing, and you feel more comfortable having it 2 years out there getting tested, as you can see, we have the service contract for normal maintenance for 2 years. However, we can discuss with the team here, looking at also different warranty addendums on the recuperator itself. Since right now we have it down for a year, but maybe we could do a line item to extend the warranty itself. Because I mean, Paul and I, we're very confident in the quality of it, and I think we'd be more than happy to speak to the product and actually put our...
For some clarity on your suggestion, would you be talking about financing specifically for the recuperator cost, or are you speaking for the overall cost of the product?
That's specifically in terms of the recuperator cost.
Okay, so-
Again, we see the value absolutely with the marine shelter and the salt and spray filters. That's something we're able to be more flexible about, but for the recuperator, I think a proposal that we'd have would be to pay around 50% of that up front, and then pay the rest later on.
And in addition to that, since we are taking a risk with that part of the product, we would like for you guys to cover any warranty costs and travel to the platform to do any maintenance of the recuperator part of the product.
Would that be in addition to the already existing warranty?
Yes.
Okay.
And also the service contract that says we will come and maintenance the product.
We don't really feel like the service contract is that necessary. We believe that our own personnel can do maintenance to the other parts of the product.
You believe that
Well,
your personnel can do work on the recuperator?
The service contract
Not
would
recuperator.
cover the recuperator's repairs as it is, and then the warranty would cover if by some crazy chance there were a product failure, that's what the warranty would cover. So I don't think we really need an additional term on that. Contract already covers.
There's no additional term with the service contract. We just don't see the relevance, to be honest.
Yeah.
We're not trying to tack on an additional term. The service contract as a whole, we think, right from where we're standing, does not make logistical profitable sense for us. It's a very high price for something that we believe and are confident in our own engineers being able to solve for us. So that service contract just doesn't seem very realistic for us at the price point listed.
Well, you mentioned that you don't feel comfortable, you think your own engineers will be capable. I don't think that they wouldn't be, but I will say over the years of selling our product, having our own engineers and having that service contract in place has ensured the longevity of our product, lasting a long enough time. And you all say you're concerned with failures, with issues, and if you have people inside of your internal company working on fixing those small repairs and they make small mistakes, the rig and our product will slowly fail with those small mistakes. So I think that having the service contract in place so that our company can come out and fix the product to the best of our knowledge and our ability as the people who have built the product. I think that's really necessary in the company.
It's very advantageous.
Are you suggesting that a small mishap in the engineering of it would cause complete failure?
And I think he mentioned small mistakes over a
Full
long
mistakes on
period of
your
time.
behalf as a company.
Such as improper servicing.
So,
So,
to touch on that, I understand what you're conveying as far as small mistakes can lead to larger failures in the future. I'm just not certain that our engineers would make those small mistakes, is my general consensus.
and I mean, here to attest, we've worked with Caroline in the past, and Jason, you look like you're an extremely capable engineer, so we don't want to speak badly to any of your engineering practices. We just believe, as we've mentioned, I mean, the recuperator in particular is an intimate part of the compressor, and it may make the maintenance of it a little bit different than what you may be used to. So if you want to, I think Paul and I and our team would be a little bit better suited right now to maintain it, at least for the first 2 years, to help those engineering debugs. And we'd be more than happy to walk alongside your team. However, we just think that way we can make the best out of
Yeah, if you don't
both
mind
the
if I
warranties.
interject real quick, sorry. Caroline, I know you've worked with other companies outside of Bolter who work on products similar to this. What is your experience with service contracts and how they've impacted other deals?
I think ultimately my team has expressed their concerns regarding, maintenance, small failures, engineering bugs, and that's a very valid concern. However, I think that having a service contract when my team at Bolt or at Mavericks has, like with their talented team, I can see how they would want to go their own way. And in my past, I've seen both.
I have a quick question for y'all. Do you
Yeah.
have any experience maintaining recuperators in the past?
Jason, that would be a question for your team.
The recuperator is a new product offering that we haven't worked with in the past. I think that that's definitely something that we will need support on. I think we're more talking about along the lines of the salt spray, air filter, and the marine shelter. We're confident in that part of servicing that on our own. The recuperator might be a little different since we haven't worked with it.
So maybe we could talk about reducing that overall price of the service contract rather than taking it out completely, because I believe it's pretty necessary for our team to come in and fix issues regarding the recuperator.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good point. I would like your guys' support with the recuperator if we do go forward with that. I don't think that the cost is fair if we were just going to have you guys service the recuperator, though.
No,
I think it would
that's
definitely need
completely
to be reduced.
Definitely, that's a lump sum for the entire compressor as well as its add-ons. So if we want to adjust it for the recuperator, I think that'd be something we'd be more than happy to do. But
How, again, yes, so also circling back to our point with the initial recuperator cost, how would we feel about offering, what was it that we were?
50 up
You
front.
mentioned 250 down, and then
We mentioned 150. We mentioned 150 down.
250 down.
No, no,
250
we said
down.
50% down. We did not say 250.
50%.
50% of the recuperator cost would be
50% of the cost that you provided would be $250,000. We do not feel comfortable with $500,000 being the full price.
Wait, isn't that?
That wasn't a concern that you brought up.
Yeah, that was the first time you mentioned that. So.
No, we're bringing it
We're
up.
bringing it up now.
Because we feel like it's overvalued, overpriced. Our engineers suggest the same thing. So
With the risk of
What
the
do you
product,
guys feel like?
we know actually. He's
How do you
a
know?
he's a
You
dedicated
guys-
engineer, PhD from what do you say, MIT.
Cornell.
No,
What's your position?
I also agree with him. I think it's
What's your
overpriced. and
position?
overvalued.
What in the company?
What do you do?
I'm the purchasing manager.
Okay, here is my suggestion. How would you guys feel if we did the recuperator cost at a discounted rate of having, I understand your guys' discontent with 150,000. What if we did 200,000 up front and then we were able to pay the other 200,000 on the end of it?
Well, frankly,
So now
no,
we're talking about 400,000.
Well,
what-
still haven't
That's our-
negotiated. You guys are reducing the price of the product itself, and nobody's brought that up.
Yeah.
We're bringing it up now.
Well, again, that just
Again, you
kind of
mentioned
goes,
it, and
that
you
goes,
didn't
sorry,
say
my
anything.
apologies for not making that more clear. This goes back to just us knowing that it's going to take testing because of that, with that 2 years. I understand what you guys are bringing up in terms of the service contract and why that is important. And I think we are willing to give on the service contract
Yeah.
because of that, and you guys coming and working with that. But we would like to see then that discounted price with the recuperator if
So
you
what
guys
are
are
you
able to.
proposing
How
for
about
the
this?
refrigerator in the service contract?
Here's what we got here. So based on our testing, we found a 25 to 30% reduction in your fuel costs for our in-house testing.
Okay.
That's led to about an average of 15 to 20,000 saved a month. How about we leave the price, we do 250 down, and then if we do not deliver on those promises from our testing that we've done, I know you've had a little concerns with the year of testing, then we'll call the rest washed, and the 250 will be all that you paid.
I think that we can go without the recuperator, though, so I think we're doing you a favor by paying you the $200K in the first place.
I mean, frankly, you can go without any of these things. It's just your compressors can fail. And with a recuperator, it's not necessarily something that is extremely important with regards to the sustainability of the compressor, but just with the sustainability of your company. I mean, just look at fuel prices. This is going to reduce your actual fuel consumption.
You just said without the recuperator, the entire compressor will fail.
No, I said the compressor will not fail. However, the actual operations overall, long term, I mean, your actual fixed costs are just going to continue increasing.
Feeling a bit
year over year
unproductive,
with
I want to
fuel.
talk directly with you, Grant. Right now, I know that you probably have a good idea of exactly what your proposal is as far as the price on each part of the product, which you want included in the terms and everything. So if you could lay that out for us, that'd be great, and I think it'd be beneficial to the meeting.
Yeah,
Yes, I agree. Thank you.
So, the full extent of the contract that we want to put forward, for what we have listed, pricing will go through the compressor listings first. The compressor, we want to offer $1.5 million. The recuperator, $150,000 up front. We would like that year of testing. If we are satisfied after that year, we're willing to pay that secondary $150,000. Again, that would be at our discretion. However, if we were to say that we were not satisfied with it, we would discontinue use of the recuperator within the operations. If we were to continue utilizing the recuperator, that would be considered our satisfaction of the product. We would pay the secondary $150,000. From there, the marine shelter, we would want to pay $150,000. The salt spray filters, $40,000. Service, if we're talking about just the recuperator specifically, I would like to look at 3 years, $75,000 I think is realistic if we're looking at one aspect of the entire product for the service contract. From there, I think we can talk a little bit more about the logistics of what implementation will look like once we nail down these numbers. So I think that would be a good starting point. We can look at delivery, etc. once we get past this initial point of pricing. Are you all okay with that?
So is it okay to discuss the pricing?
Yes.
I think we'd agree that pricing on this is the
Yes.
highest priority.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So let's discuss. What are your initial thoughts regarding those prices?
Do you mind if I run through them real quick just to have them up here? So
definitely.
1.5 for the actual compressor,
Correct.
right? 150 you said for the marine shelter,
Yes.
and then you said recuperator 150 up front, and then upon your discretion potentially another 150 down the line for a total of 300, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we'll put 150 for now. With that, and the salt spray air filters, was that 40?
Correct.
Okay. And service 75 for 3 years, recuperator only, right?
Correct. That's assuming that it stays in line the full 3 years. Obviously, the service contract
Okay.
would be voidable upon the removal of the recuperator if that so happened.
Okay.
So you're asking for a 40% discount basically on our current contract.
Correct. This
Why-
is an
why is that?
untested.
What?
This is an untested product in the field.
The rest
Very
is
reasonable.
Nothing
So
else.
what competitor prices have you seen in the field in compressors that are 1.5 million or anything involved that we're including on the package that are at the prices that you listed?
That's something that we cannot disclose as a company.
Something that you didn't find.
Excuse me, you do
Yeah.
not know the logistics of what we have behind the scenes. There are confidential offers that we have that we cannot disclose to you, so I apologize if it offends you that other people have more competitive pricing. However,
Grant,
that
if you
is
don't mind, I'm
the
going to stop you right
situation.
there. I think that we need to reroute this meeting a little bit. I think people are getting kind of a little bit hostile here. I think that those were the initial numbers we came in with. Hearing your guys' perspective about everything, we are more willing, as I said before, to give on the marine shelter as well as the salt spray filters. I know your point, Tyler, before was asking for, in terms of the recuperator, paying that $250 up front and $250 on the back end. How would you guys feel about doing $225? I think
Yeah.
that's a good median for us,
Yeah, for
where
sure.
we could
And-
see that discount.
Yeah, and the thing is the reason I wanted to do the pricing that way is because we're confident in our product, but that doesn't mean anything to you until you've
Yeah.
used it and seen it deliver. So we're going to call that $225 each way.
Great.
And the down payment will be your only payment if it doesn't deliver on the numbers that we generated in our
Great.
testing.
And how will
So-
those numbers be quantified?
Of course, so that's very simply measuring your fuel costs and your cost of energy compared to what you were using prior to, or using on other rigs, because I know this is only for one rig that you're running right now, so that'll be easily comparable to other rigs that aren't using our recuperator, reducing those fuel costs.
Okay. And is there a specific percentage we're going after?
Yes, sorry,
So
I briefly mentioned that earlier.
recuperators typically save you 15 to 20% of your costs. We're going to go 15, 20, 17 and a half.
So from our testing, we found 25 to 30%.
Yeah.
Cost of, you can take
Okay.
over there. That was
In
your
our testing,
expertise.
that's what we saw, 25-30%.
Yeah.
Would we be okay with setting the hurdle rate at 27.5? Halfway between 25.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, we don't. I don't think we need to specify the percent. I think if we
Okay.
can meet that 25 to 30% cost savings, that'll be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fair.
Yeah.
I think
I do
that's
too.
fair as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we hammer something out. Great. guys.
Yes.
Healthy.
And then I guess, okay, so kind of additionally going off of that, some other concerns that I would like for us to bring up. Actually, should we talk about the total pricing of that product package as a whole so then we can move on to some terms and
If we
conditions?
continue to talk about each aspect,
Yeah.
Yes.
if we did the recuperator, that would be good to leading to the full
Yeah.
price.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Should we move to the compressor set?
Yeah, I think talking about the JR2000 would be beneficial.
Yes. So, as I said before, in terms of the other aspects of the product, we're more willing to give on the salt spray and air filters, as well as the marine shelter. Again, the service contract, in terms of that, as well as our warranty, that's just to cover the cost of us testing this product for the next couple of years. So how would you guys feel coming in with the total price of everything around 2.5?
Well,
Like we asked, could we continue to do the
I think it'd be
individual
more
pricing rather than the
Oh, yes, my
Alright,
apologies.
so
My
we should
apologies.
probably start with the JR2000 compressor
Yes.
set specifically.
Yes.
I know you guys had hesitation with the $1.5 million. What's a more reasonable pricing you would feel is necessary? We feel like we reduced the price significantly simply because we saw those lost sales, but as you explained the reasoning and justification between why you had those loss in sales and those late deliveries, but we're more than willing to work with you on the actual pricing itself. Do you
I'm
feel
sorry, you mentioned late deliveries. I would just question that. You just got to do that in there. On what are you referring to?
we've seen from your company you've had late deliveries in your product offerings?
I don't think that's true. I think you may have us mixed up with a different company. So
At least from what I've seen is that you've had difficulty meeting delivery dates.
yeah. Well, we have a penalty for late delivery of $10,000 a month currently under contract. So we'll be paying for that if we are, but we can adjust that if needed if that is a concern for you. So
Yeah, we were just slightly concerned with it, but I mean, moving forward, we can just
We can touch on that in
Okay,
terms and
we can touch
conditions.
on that,
I
of
think
course, yeah.
it'd be smart for us to figure
Knock out
out
the
the
pricing.
compressor set,
Yeah, of
move
course.
on from the product package
Yeah.
from there.
Sounds great. Yeah, so you mentioned 1.5 million. The original offer sheet, we were, looking slightly over $2 million if you, removed the additions that we had on the contract. What are you thinking? This is where you step in.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a difficult point for us because the compressor set is obviously, I mean, and our reputation speaks for itself. Our compressor set, alongside the rest of our products, is some of the best in the market. So it's very difficult for us to budge on that when you're asking for a decent cut on all of these other things as well. Because it's one of the items on here that is proven alongside the
Yeah,
marine shelter
absolutely.
and the air filters. So I'd like to hear how we justified jumping so far to a 1.5.
I think John mentioned was
Yeah,
some.
Yeah.
I can touch up on that too. So I know as the price is significant, you wanted the payment all up front, or would you want to do payment plans forward?
We're willing to
Whatever you
entertain payment plans. Absolutely.
Okay. Now, a $1 million price is far more doable if we can break it up into a payment plan.
That's absolutely something to do.
Part of the reason for our justification of such a low price initially for the compressor set is just because we've just had a global pandemic. We're still trying to make costs savings. So a $2.2 million cost for a compressor set is just somewhat out of budget to do upfront all at once right now. And if we can work on a pricing plan for the terms of payment over course of a specific amount of time, we'd be more than willing to readjust that initial price.
Yeah, so what we were looking at in this original contract would be 2.5 million without any of that, which I know we're not discussing that right now, but
Yes.
just JR2000 by itself
Yes.
started at 2.5. So how would a 10% reduction be to 2.25 million? Would that be reasonable with a payment plan structured around your finances and what works best for you?
What would the payment plan be looking like?
What would work best for
So
you?
our ideal would be 4 equal payments. Again, kind of this is same idea as we had with the marine shelter. And so we'd have first at delivery, second at startup, and then third and fourth at 90-day intervals.
Okay, so you just do 4 equal payments?
Yes, 4
Okay.
equal payments.
Okay, for sure. That's not
Yes,
doable over here?
Does that
Yeah,
work
no,
for you
yeah.
guys?
Yeah.
Great. Great.
So we're looking at, just to clarify, we're looking at the 10% discount on the base 2.5
For the
Yes,
compressor.
yeah, so
Sure.
we're at 2.25
With payment
total
with
with
payment
the
terms.
for 4 equal payments beginning that delivery.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that works for me.
Are we comfortable talking about whatever's concerning to us next?
Let's move to the marine shelter.
Marine shelter.
Yes. Okay. Marine shelter, as I mentioned, we're more willing to give on that. Our ideal price would be around, we aren't really wanting to go much higher than 300,000, but I do see that you guys have been working with us a lot today, which I really appreciate. I know your guys' quote that you gave us was around 500,000, but would you?
400 for the bridge.
Oh, 400
Yeah.
for the marine shelter. Thank you. I was looking at the recuperator. So, in terms of that, I think we would be fine working with you guys more on that. So, what would you guys?
So 300.
From there.
Do you think
300 is our
proposal?
objective. Yes,
Okay. Okay. What do we
that would
think?
be our goal. But I do recognize you guys have been
I mean,
working
that's
a lot
what
with
I'm
us, and so
saying.
that's something I am more willing
A
to
give and
give in.
take. So I
Absolutely.
think that if
Absolutely.
you guys could just meet the 400,000 that we have listed, that would be great on our end.
I'm
since we
willing to
have-
work with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works for me.
So salt
And I
spray.
see that as well with our salt spray filters.
Okay. So we're
Well,
okay
so
with-
there's. Should we have a quick team meeting?
Yeah, would y'all mind giving us the room for a second?
Yeah, go for it.
Absolutely.
And then we can also, after that, go into terms and conditions.
We
We
did-
can all spend
we
the
still
same
have to
page.
discuss
Appreciate
the
it.
salt spray filter.
Yes,
That's what
yes,
we're
that-
talking
and-
about.
Just can grab between the knees.
I do have my son's T-ball game after this, so let's try to make it happen.
Yes. Thank y'all.
Of course.
Very welcome.
Okay, we need to work with them one more.
But we're going way above like our objectives.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're like going above the.
On all of them?
Yeah, we're above.
I didn't
all
think we
this.
were.
No, we're above all this stuff.
So the numbers-
We're going-
We're up.
I just think that these are all way
Oh,
too
yeah.
low of
These- yeah,
numbers
these are
that,
too low. These
you
are
like,
all
they're
way
not, nothing's gonna
Right.
come of that.
If we keep
We can't.
lowballing at the level that we are, they're just going to be unresponsive.
Yeah.
Yes,
We
and
need
keep
to-
being pissed.
Okay,
So when the
we-
salt spray comes up, our objective is 60,000, and they are off. They want 100,000. Can we meet in the middle? Or no.
With the compressor
Yeah.
set, we went up $50,000.
My concern is these are our purchasing objectives.
I
When we
know.
came in with these as our settlement zone.
Yeah.
So now we're breaking past our settlement zone, which is what's scary.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if we keep
Yeah, we
meeting
can't be
them in the
greedy.
middle, quote
That's gonna be
unquote,
above what
from
we
the
are.
settlement zone, we're past our objective already, and we're now getting into territory of we are paying more
But I'm
than what
like,
we are allowed
do we give
to pay.
more though, I think, on the marine and salt spray filters? Because
Marine,
I
we
think
went
that
too high.
these are more important.
So we got
What?
a 10% discount on
Delivery?
2.25
Yes,
million.
I think that our term.
Oh,
number
because you're
needs-
saying that we're gonna
Yeah.
because we're gonna cut the
Yes,
service.
that's
contract.
why I'm like, because
Yeah,
That's
I
fair.
think the other stuff, like terms of payment, which that's good, we got what we wanted.
Yes.
I think penalty for late delivery, that's gonna be a huge hot topic because theirs is 10,000 in delivery. They're trying to do 6
What
months.
was
of
Tyler
delivery.
saying that they've never failed a delivery?
No,
Yeah, he
That's,
said that
it's
they
just not written in their case. They didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I'm like, I think we give more on salt spray filters in the marine shelter, so then we can fight more on those.
As it is, as it stands right now,
We
we're
don't
above
have time.
$50,000 in the price for compressor set, but it's fine because we got our terms of payment good.
Yes.
Marine shelter, we spent $400,000 instead of $300,000. We're $100,000 over our
Okay.
objective, which is a little concerning.
Okay.
Recuperator, we're
Recuper-
also over.
Yeah, we're over on the recuperator, and that's the part that we weren't even gonna like.
Yeah, we're
We're
at 400.
budgeting that.
We're at 400.
I mean, unless it fails in the year, we
Yeah.
only pay 225.
So we're 50K over on that, 100K over on marine shelter.
Yeah.
So I'm saying like
50K over.
I can't like
Yeah.
especially when profit is my main concern. I can't be like, oh, I'm okay with us like
Okay.
continually hopping over objectives to
How are we
meet
going
their
to approach
needs.
them to changing our initial?
Are we gonna do that?
I think
We're gonna
that-
have to.
I think that part
After
of
us
the, part of the
discussing.
negotiation is we have to stand our ground at a certain point, even if it does get a little hostile. Because
Yeah.
if we let their being hostile to us and then that creating a sense of tension mean that we just buckle, then we're just going to end up giving them all of the prices.
35.
Yeah, 35.
You have 25.
Okay, I mean,
25, okay, then.
So
I mean, we can give a little bit, but I
What
don't
if we
like
come
the
back
idea
in
of
and-
consistently going up to their
what if y'all
price.
come back in? Well, never mind.
I say we stick at the compressor set. That's fine because the terms are good. We gotta say, hey, you know what? After rediscussing with our VP of like drilling, like we've seen that we actually need to do we need a reduction in the marine shelter if this is gonna be a
I
possibility.
think we also need to reduce the
Oh
recuperator.
gosh, I'm just nervous because we haven't even gotten to terms. And that's
But
gonna
they
be
already
a
said that they
decision.
don't care about terms as much.
Yeah, they've said they're.
We can touch up on this.
Like
pretty
they
fast.
That'll
gave,
go fast.
they gave our pricing terms so fast. Like we didn't even have to ask really. They were fine with our terms of payment.
It just creates, in my opinion, too many cracks when like we come out with the numbers. We see a little bit of hostility, and then immediately are like, "We're willing to give you this. We're willing
We
to give you
should-
this." Like
maybe-
we should let them give us a counter number for once because they have yet to do that
Yeah.
from our initial propositions.
Um,
So I think when they come in here with, what are we at? Salt spray filters.
Yes.
I think we said 40K. We asked them if they're not happy with that, what's the number that they'd like
Yeah.
to look at. They give us a number. We spit a number back at them.
Okay.
Like let's like actually roll with that.
What's,
because they
what's an
haven't
actual
spit a number
realistic
back at us.
one?
we're
Number
running
of
out of time.
They listed like
Don't
on
let them
like
back in
They
yet.
ask why are we lowballing it to 40? What do we say?
it's a new product. It's a very
Oh, but then we're
recent
gonna
product.
keep
with
talking
no-
and we
Keep saying it.
But that's the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
Save
If
we
they
can
don't want to
also be
accept
given
that,
on
then
Then
everything
they don't get
else.
the deal. Okay.
yeah. If they don't want to accept the fact that it's a new product with no field experience,
We don't need
And
to come
they
in
keep
hostile.
I think, though,
we
I
can
agree.
apologize and say,
I
hey, you know
agree.
what? We were a little out of line. We're thinking about it
Basically-
more realistically, and now that we're
Can
in
you
our
leave
person.
that in? I think that they settle down a lot when you start talking. You know?
They settle down.
Yeah.
I feel like they settled down
Like
when
at
you
the
said it though.
beginning. What?
I feel like you're the one that kind of calmed the room.
Oh, thank you.
Here,
You did.
I mean, I can try. I can be like.
Okay, but
If not-
we're not gonna.
I think
Are
you're
we gonna
being a
renegotiate?
little
with them?
apologetic.
Or not?
no, I think we should.
No.
I don't
No,
think we
we
can.
just
Yeah.
need to
I think
move
we
on
just
to
need
shelter.
to hold our
Hey,
ground.
we're running
on
out. We're running out.
these
of time.
we
Yes.
just need to
Okay,
go.
let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
We got this.
Welcome
I'm
back.
gonna
We good.
Thank you guys.
Get discussions in.
Not a boy.
Hey, you know what? We wanted to set the tone. We came in a little hostile. I'm
It's
sorry.
okay. I think we reciprocated.
You know, you guys are a very reputable company. We appreciate you guys coming here today. I know it's a lot to ask.
We're happy to be here.
We were happy to work with you. So, in recapping, we just discussed with our team. We feel comfortable in the compression set price as well as the payment terms. However, after discussing with our VP of pricing and everything, we feel that our recuperator pricing is a little over our budget.
No, I'm satisfied with the
Or the
recuperator.
No, sorry.
marine shelter. But
Yes.
the marine shelter is a little out of our budget.
What are we looking at?
Well, it was proposed, I recall, Haley said 300,000. Is that correct?
We settled on 400 for.
We settled on 400, but
We
Yeah.
settled on 400.
Yes.
And I recall Haley was wanting 300,000. Is that correct? Is
That
that still
is
the
correct.
case?
300 would be
Okay.
optimal for us so that we can reach our budgeting goals and,
Of course.
still make a profitable amount.
Of course. So 300 would be optimal for y'all. 400
Yes.
would be optimal for us.
Absolutely.
So is
We do like 375. Honestly, this is one of our tried and true products. We
yeah.
get
I mean,
three-
And
I
we're
don't see
getting
a
quite a
reason-
bit of ground up to this point.
We want to work together, right? But
Of course.
Absolutely.
they offer discounts where it makes sense, right? So the Marine Shelter is, like he said, the most tried and tested product that we have at our company as one of the top companies in the industry. I don't see a reason for a discount on that specific part of our package. You know?
And you're not
Like,
going
it's
to
going to save
see
you
a
guys
cheaper
downtime.
price.
And downtime is, I mean, as sure as you guys know, is catastrophic in this field. If
Mhm.
your compressor's not running, your operation's
You're not
not
making any
running.
money.
And Platform 6, I believe it is, will not be running. So it's very valuable. I mean, it reduces downtime by 10%.
Yeah.
So
So 375 is the lowest you guys would go. Is that what I'm hearing?
375 is what we're comfortable with. Is that something we can move
What
forward
about
with?
350?
You can do 375.
It is an optional
We're getting
mechanism,
down to
right?
the line for us in terms of our total number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're comfortable with 375.
Alright.
And we can move on from there.
All right. So, what are your thoughts on the air filters?
Well, since we spent, I mean, Haley, do you want to touch up on it? Since we spent more than expected for the marine shelter.
How would you?
It's
not-
more
we
than-
just
we
give
just
you a
gave you a
discount.
discount. How's
No, it's in a discount, but I mean, we still have our budgeting goals. I mean, our budgeting goals are different from your sales goals, right? We have to meet our own budget. So, I mean, currently we're already over budget. I mean, this is nothing against you, but
I mean,
we,
what
have-
are you thinking for the salt spray air filters?
we were suggesting around 40,000.
How are you? Si-
But we're willing to work with you guys. We would be willing to hear a
of course,
counteroffer.
of course.
Absolutely.
Counter offer is 150.
And just going forward to speed up this negotiation, let's just start
Absolutely.
with more realistic beginning numbers, so we don't have to do this back and forth, and so we can just get to a number quicker.
Okay. To interject quickly, I think something like 80,000 is something we'd be comfortable with. That's a 20% cost reduction.
Yeah.
Can we do something along those lines?
80 is far over budget for us.
But it's
It's far under budget for us.
We have
I
no
totally
problem.
understand that. However, you also have to realize you guys were only able to discount us $25,000 in the marine shelter. Where we paid $75,000 extra.
We've discounted every single
This
part
is a
of
And
very
we've also been
competitive
over budget
offer
on everything
coming
as
in.
well, with us
Are we
meeting in the
capable to
middle.
buy the product?
Well, I think that we need to realize, like John said, that we do have different budgeting goals for different parts of the product.
Absolutely.
So
Of course.
I think
Okay.
that we need to really
Right.
recognize that part.
Okay.
That we have different objectives than you guys.
Of
and we
course.
understand the price,
And-
but that's different from our
Absolutely,
goals.
and objectives are going to be very different on the two different sides of the table, which is completely understandable. But we also understand, we know what our competitors are offering, and this was already a highly competitive offer sheet coming in. So for us, on every single line offer, going minimum 10% discounts is like, that is us really wanting to establish a long-term partnership with you. Because we love the work that you do, and we understand that you're expanding, which congratulations on that end. And we want to work with you going forward.
Yeah.
So understand that when we do a 10, 15, 20% discount on every line item, that is making this offer just incredibly, incredibly valuable. So when we push back a little bit, it's because we know this is a competitive offer sheet.
We've also mentioned up to this point, I know John spoke to it, an interest in payment terms rather than paying cash up front, given the current economic conditions in the
Yeah.
world right now. That's something that we're more than happy to accommodate, not just on the one line item we were discussing, but I think throughout the contract, that's something we would be willing to wiggle on fairly significantly if cash is something that's a concern, cash flow. So if we negotiated payment terms on something like the salt spray air filters, is that something that you could give us something a little bit more reasonable total offer on?
Would, I mean, if we were able to have an extension on our terms of payment past those 4 equal payments, maybe to 5 or 6, would you be able to be comfortable with $60,000?
That's
I mean,
for
it's going to reduce your maintenance costs by about 12%, guys.
I don't think we need to extend the terms of payment. I think that just from a logistical standpoint, the pricing, I understand it decreases downtime. With that being said, I just think that at the point we're at right now, 80K is just a little over budget as far as what we're looking for coming in.
Yes.
I think that, to interject too, we're talking about a difference of $20,000 to $50,000
Yes.
here, and this product is proven to decrease downtime by 10%. And I know that in an oil rig pumping 24/7, any downtime in a single day can cost you upwards of $2 million. So I feel that
Sorry, just to interject, this is
That's
for maintenance costs.
This would be for so the air spray filter would be on the actual maintenance cost. So 12% less
How-
maintenance cost is about $15,000 a year.
Okay.
So the product it would pay itself off in about it would be at about 7 years. By the 7th year, it would be
How
fully
about
paid
You
off
said-
and
what about
profitable.
More than 70?
That's what I was gonna say. You guys want 80? We want
Sounds
60.
good.
Let's meet in the middle and do
Let's take the next
70.
meeting, have 70,000.
Agreed. I think that's a great idea.
Do you have any objections to the proposed service contract as far as just recuperator?
I'm sorry, could you remind me of what the...
Yeah,
So 5,000 3-year recuperator.
Correct. Just the recuperator. not
3 years
the
of
service.
maintenance. So an extra year of
Yeah.
maintenance for half the price. is
But
what we're
only for the
suggesting.
recuperator.
For just the
Yeah,
recuperator.
that's why the price
Yeah, understood.
is just because it's only the recuperator, not the entirety of
We
the
can service
product.
the other two parts of the product by ourselves.
Sure, of course.
So that portion of the product is going to carry the greatest maintenance costs, given that it's something that's still requiring in-field testing that's at a higher level than products that have been proven for a while now. So it's going to take up a greater proportion of that cost. So if we're looking at a 2-year normal maintenance of $150,000, then that means each year you're paying $75,000, and a good $50,000 of that is your recuperator maintenance costs, I would imagine. Is that something that sounds about accurate?
Yep. To really offer the most optimal performance of the recuperator and to help you guys, debug it, if that's the belief you guys have for field testing, as quickly as possible, we believe that it would take up a larger chunk of our time.
Yep. So if we were to extend to 3 years normal maintenance, then it would end up being at a rate of $50,000 a year, $150,000. So it would be a similar price, but you would be getting an additional year of normal maintenance. But it's from what I understand, cash is more of a concern than price. And if that's truly the case, then we're willing to stick with the 2-year normal maintenance because we believe it'll only take 2 years to work out those bugs, and we'll reduce the price at y'all's discretion. Is that something we're comfortable with?
Yeah, I think dropping it to 2 years. I'm just a little concerned with what you just said. So it's 50,000 of the initial 75,000 a year of services typically addressed to the recuperator, just based on like how complex the product is. Is that what you're saying? Or
I can be checked on this, but yeah, it's about 2/3 of the annual maintenance cost.
okay, Jason, what do you think about the service product there from the service contract there?
I mean, I think since that part of the product is new and we want to be able to work out all the bugs necessary, I think that keeping it at 3 years is fair.
Okay.
I really want to make sure that the recuperator is going to be something that works for us and works for you guys as well. So I think that keeping it at the 3 is fair, just to make sure that we're comfortable with it and you guys are as well.
Okay. So if 3 years is of interest, then maybe we can stick with the 150, and it's a $50,000 annual investment. So we can talk about payment terms, where we have $50,000 paid on an annual basis, and it's just the 50 up front. Is that something we would think makes more sense?
Can you bring us down to like
I can give you 40. I can give you 40,000 a year at the most.
40,000 a
Very
year.
most. 40,000 a year, putting us at
120.
at the very, very most. That's me giving lots of ground,
Yeah.
and even that puts us in the red.
Yeah. Yeah.
it puts us in the red too?
We've been in the red.
We can mutually be in the red.
We've been deeply in the red.
I don't know.
Should we? Nobody's happy. Nobody's happy with the cost on either side. We're coming to a mutually agreeable deal.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Tyler, I appreciate you making light of everything.
So I would like to
Yes.
make a pivot. So
Yes.
we're hitting on price. We've been on it.
Absolutely. Yes.
It's a big thing for both of us. Both of our budgets
Yes.
don't match each other's exactly,
Absolutely.
but I can tell that on both sides we really want to work together.
Yes.
And I think that that's something that's super important. And seeing you guys are expanding over the next
Yes.
5 years, building 4 rigs a year after this
Absolutely.
initial build, I think that we'd be more comfortable going lower on the price, as we have been, and we can go a little bit further
Okay.
if we were able to guarantee a partnership in installing our rigs with the plan that we come up with today, and all the 4 rigs a year for the next 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. We could look at a extended partnership discount.
I'd definitely be interested in that
I think we're willing to
opportunity.
work with
I think what would a partnership entail? Just basically complete utilization of your product on our rigs and your
Yeah.
product alone.
Right.
Yeah.
And of
Yeah,
course,
I'm willing to accept that for a discounted price.
all right. So let's take it big picture here. We
Yes.
have these 5 years. We'd like to work together. We see value in each of our own companies here. What is the final price that you guys are comfortable paying for our entire package over that 5-year period for each well?
So I know your proposed price is the 3.65 million, correct?
Yes.
So that is a lot higher than we would like. How do we feel about? I mean,
I'll go up from what I initially suggested by
Yes.
a lot. I'll throw out $3 million.
Yes.
I think that in the contract we were sitting at $3,150,000 with negotiated terms that we
Okay.
discussed throughout. So
Yes.
would you be comfortable with 3.15?
yes, I would be
Sure.
comfortable with that. Yeah.
Well,
Great.
starting. We get
Starting.
our costs obviously go up just
Yeah.
as I'm sure y'all's costs increase as well, and just a period of rising prices. So our typical inflation escalator that we plan for rising prices is about 15%, just to
Okay.
accommodate for
Yeah.
the economy. That's not a penalty in any way. That's just us planning for our increased costs, just like y'all's costs will increase on your end. Just economical situation, not a penalty in any way.
Okay.
Are y'all comfortable with that? based on building a 15% increase based on the initial price we come up with today.
Yes.
At the
That
discount.
works.
Yeah, at the
We're comfortable.
discount.
We'll
comfortable.
start from the discount that we come up
Great.
when we finish these terms today.
Okay.
And then I know we are getting down to the wire here on time, and I want to be respectful. Well, I appreciate you guys being respectful of our time and vice versa.
Yeah.
I think it would be really beneficial if we just, I know we talked already about our terms of payment, but touching on the other aspects of our terms and conditions. So as John was mentioning earlier, in terms of delivery, so what we have seen just within the market is there has been some late deliveries with Bolter, and that is a concern that we have as well. But as you guys mentioned, we do want to work with you going forward. For us, ultimate goal of delivery would be 3 months rather than 6 months.
I think
Let's pause quickly.
Yes.
Before we address the rest of that, is there anything else in the rest of the terms and conditions that's a serious concern for you?
I would say our 3 things that are the most important to us are that delivery. We already touched on terms of payment, which is very important to us. Also wanting to touch a little bit on the arbitration clause and the penalty for late delivery.
So
Delivery
we
is
all-
critical.
we all-
Delivery is
Okay,
critical.
so given that delivery is critical, that's where
Yes.
we're willing to budge the most.
Great.
Great.
So
We'll do that 3 months.
3 months
We
is
can do
something
3
we can
months?
absolutely do.
Great.
And if
Great.
we're willing to give that, we would appreciate some goodwill on those other things.
Absolutely.
Is that something we
Yeah.
can do?
Yes.
Absolutely, and this 5-year partnership is an investment, so thank you for accommodating.
3 months. 3 months can be
Yes.
guaranteed.
Great.
Now
So
we're getting.
we're going to do 3 months delivery, and
Yes.
then the payment plan we decided to do over those four
Absolutely.
Great.
Yes.
And then arbitration is something that we aren't comfortable with as vice president. I'm sure you've experienced this as well. Taking it to outside companies can sometimes lead to some bad blood, and we want to start a healthy relationship that's going to lead into great business and great collaboration over this next
Yes.
5-year time period. So I'd be really comfortable if we could just keep it between us here today. And Tyler actually has a contract here that we've written up with the 5 years. He's included all of the price adjustments and the term adjustments that we talked about today. So I would love to get that signed if you guys are comfortable without taking it out to a third party.
Well, when it comes to arbitration, we really need something like that. I mean, if you're more comfortable with a double-blind, unbiased arbitrator, we'd
Well,
be more than willing.
arbitration is not something we're going to be able to do.
Yeah, that's true.
So we
I think
budged
something
on
we're
both the
gonna
terms. Arbitration is
So
not
that's
something-
just
The
going to be
concern,
hard.
the concern with arbitration is we've been talking about a long-term partnership.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we don't want to have bad blood between us
Yes.
over the course of 4 or
Yes.
5 years, then arbitration is going to put a serious hamper in
Yeah.
the nature of our
Of
relationship.
course. Basically, by signing an arbitration clause today,
Or
we're
not,
saying
sorry.
we don't think we can have a
Yeah.
negotiation like this going forward, which doesn't really seem logical on my end. I think we should be able to get across the table from each other and discuss terms like this if there are issues
Yeah.
going forward. So just to keep it blunt and short, we're a hard no on arbitration clause.
What is that due to?
What's up? I'm sorry.
What is that due to company policy? Do you have a
Yeah,
legal
that's
team?
that's due to our company policy and just really the fact that it has created some toxic environments with companies that we've worked with in the past because we've
Okay.
done long-term deals specifically actually with the JR 2000 set and we've had issues like this come up and the arbitration clause we budged on the original contract and then when those disputes come up we said hey we're willing to work with you, let's discuss, and they said no, we want to go to a third party immediately. And that really damaged our relationships, particularly on the executive level between our board and theirs. That's just not something we want to see happen. in
So
our
if I can
relationship with
interject really
Maverick, so-
quickly, I feel like
Yes.
we've hammered out a really good contract here. I feel
Absolutely.
like we've made concessions on both sides. So why do you feel the need to go to arbitration?
Yeah.
It's more of a company policy
Okay.
issue.
Yeah.
It's
So
not
we-
something with the partnership specifically that we want just with
Yes.
y'all, or is it just something that
What would be
So,
the
so,
concept?
to be blunt,
Of course.
So to be blunt, we no longer have our legal team, and so that was the whole idea behind us having arbitration.
Of course.
I guess in terms of pivoting and understanding, like you said, trying to make, I think what we've realized at this meeting is we want to work with you guys in the future. You guys want to work with us. And so in order to preserve that relationship, if that's something you guys do think is going to be really damaging, we could each assemble our own mediation teams going forward from there.
mediation
if
has
issues
less
did
legal
arise.
implications?
Yes.
Which would keep us away from that toxicity. It's something that where we can just have.
Here's what I would say. And I'll talk about one of the terms we discussed earlier was we had our recuperator where we said if we don't deliver, you don't pay.
Yes.
That's the kind of trust we want y'all to have in us.
Absolutely.
That's why it's very important, more from a company value standpoint, that we can be trusted as a supplier. So it's really why we don't bring third parties into any of our
So
disputes.
mediation is not third parties. It would just be if a conflict arises. We have a couple select people on our team that meet with a select group of people on your team to work out the negotiation.
I think we
That's
can
all.
do that.
That's all mediation.
I think we can do that.
Great.
Okay. Is there anything else in the contract that's of high priority? We
Just
are
in
coming up to
terms
time.
of talking back to that delivery real fast, those late fees. So our goal, as we mentioned, with you guys having dealt with some delivery fees in the past, and I know we've shown that a lot with our payment terms today of having some of our payments more upfront and then the rest on the back end. That $10,000 a month is a little low for us.
What would make you feel more comfortable on our implementation?
I mean, our goal was 80. If we could just meet in the middle, just settle this.
Yeah. What was your goal? Sorry, I missed it.
Yeah.
80.
80,000.
80,000
$80,000.
If you guys can guarantee like delivery for 3 months, it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
How about we do a
Let's say that.
contingent
If we miss the
sale?
delivery, we'll compensate.
Yeah,
We'll compensate, yeah.
Okay,
Well,
sounds-
sure, 80,000 sounds fair.
Okay.
So I have Grant. This has been great. Obviously these meetings can get a little bit
Absolutely.
heated, but I feel like we've come to a really good agreement here. That five-year deal with the 3.15.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to work with you all. I know
Yeah.
on behalf of our whole team, not
Yeah.
just me.
We can't.
We're excited to get
a
great
product as well.
For the next 5 years, we're toxic
Yeah.
meetings.
Hopefully the relationship is better. We'll bring ice cream next time.
I apologize for saying what's up.
1 second.
We're coming up to time, so let's resolve this.
I just want to say thank everyone for being here
Yeah.
today.
Thank you.
With the signature of this contract, we begin our 5-year partnership.
Here's the
It's been a pleasure to work with everyone.
Jason, looking forward to
It's
working with you.
great. It was a pleasure.
It was so good. It was a pleasure.